For artists, designers, and most people, the world's most renowned structures may be a significant source of inspiration. Design projects of all types can benefit from structural forms, innovative design concepts, and aesthetic accents. With this, join us as we unveil the top 10 most impressive buildings in the world. But before that, don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell button to be notified whenever we publish a new video. Number 10. Leaning Tower of Pisa, Pisa. The Leaning Tower of Pisa is a notable architectural structure in Europe, known for its accidental tilt. During construction, the tower began to tilt because of the soft ground on one side could not effectively sustain the structure's weight. Work on the structure began in 1173 and lasted a whopping 199 years. The real identity of the architect behind it has been a source of great debate. Architect Dio Tizalvi has also been linked to the design, initially credited to the artist Bonanno Pisano. Number 9. The Dancing House, Prague. The Dancing House's history dates back to the conclusion of World War II, when the former structure on the site was destroyed during the Allies' bombing of Prague. Nothing was constructed there throughout the communist era, 1948 to 1999, and it was only after the revolution that Václav Havel arrived with a vision. The strangely formed building, based on the reinforced concrete structure with 99 variably shaped adjoined exterior panels, is an example of the deconstructive architectural style, with two towers form the frontispiece, which resembles a dancing pair. The dancing house has a dome on top known as Medusa due to its shape. The structure comprises 9 stories with asymmetrical chambers. The home extends over the curb onto the sidewalk. Number 8. Forbidden City, Beijing. In Beijing, the Forbidden City is a city within a city. It is more of a complex with over 1,000 structures than a single structure. While most people are familiar with its famous gates, the complex itself, commissioned in the early 15th century by a Ming Dynasty ruler, encompasses 72 hectares. It has served as the ceremonial and political center of the Chinese government for almost 500 years, although it took just 14 years to construct. The theological and philosophical significance of the complex is reflected in the design, which includes characteristics like the inner and outer halls being organized in threes to depict the Qian triangle. The statuettes on the top of the structures, with their celestial meanings, emphasize their prominence. While the complex was previously a prohibited city, it is now available to the public, which would be fantastic if we could ever return. Number 7. Great Mosque of Jenne, Jenne. In present-day Mali, the Great Mosque of Jenne is one of Africa's wonders and one of the world's most unique religious structures. It is also Sudano-Sahelian architecture's crowning achievement. Sudano-Sahelian refers to the Sudanian and Sahel grassland of West Africa. It is also the world's largest mud-built building. We get a sense of its grandeur from afar, as it dwarfs the city of Jenne. Consider how you'd get to the city's towering mosque from the city's low-rise adobe neighborhoods. Jenne thrived as a significant center of trade, scholarship, and Islam practice since the beginning of the 13th century. It was founded between 800 and 1250 CE. The Great Mosque quickly became one of the most prominent structures in town, mainly as a political symbol for locals and colonial forces such as the French, who gained control of Mali in 1892. The Great Mosque has been the spiritual and cultural heart of Mali and the Jenne population over the ages. It also hosts the Crepissage de la Grande Mosque, a one-of-a-kind yearly festival plastering of the Great Mosque. Number 6. Angkor Wat, Siem Reap. Suryavarman II, king of the Khmer Empire, built Angkor Wat at Siem Reap, northwestern Cambodia, over 3 decades in the 12th century. It is the world's most prominent religious monument. The temple was originally devoted to the Hindu god Vishnu, but it was later changed to a Buddhist shrine. It is also the best preserved and biggest temple among the Angkor ruins. The vast metropolis is estimated to have sustained almost 1 million people. And an even more fantastic achievement is when you realize that a city with a few thousand people was considered a vibrant place in Europe at the time. Angkor Wat is a major tourist destination in Cambodia and an enduring reminder of a vast empire that once covered much of Asia. Number 5. La Sagrada Familia, Barcelona. Not bad for a structure that hasn't been finished yet. Although work began in 1882, the blueprints were largely destroyed during the Spanish Civil War, and much time has been spent attempting to reconstruct them. The structure is expected to be finished by 2026, a century after God's death. With its prominent towers and a blend of Gothic and Art Nouveau design, it's difficult to perceive it as anything other than a cathedral, even though it wasn't intended to be. The structure is a testimony to God's singularity, and it has become a popular tourist destination for both architects and the general public in Barcelona. The Sagrada Familia is sometimes said to be the world's oldest continuing building project. The Basilica of Antony God began construction in 1882 and is still incomplete 130 years later. It was last scheduled to be finished in 2026, but that date has been pushed back again. The construction will have lasted just a few decades shorter than the Great Wall of China when it is ultimately completed. Its spectacular blend of architectural forms, almost liquid-like spires, elaborate facades, ornamental arcs, and brilliant stained glass make it a delight to see even in its incomplete state. Number 4. Athenian Acropolis, Athens. The old Acropolis was destroyed by Persian invaders, forcing the surviving and eventually triumphant Greeks to decide to leave the remains atop the hill as a memorial of their ordeal. This is all changed in the 5th century when then Athenian General Pericles determined that the less conspicuous memorial should be built instead, while the concept was admirable. As a result, the most well-known example of ancient Greek architecture survives. The Acropolis is made up of numerous temples designed by Inctinus and Callicrates. These massive structures tower over the city of Athens. Perched atop a steep outcrop, the most famous of these is the Parthenon, a colossus temple dedicated to the goddess Athena, erected between 447 and 432 BC. The temple frieze and metopes included some of the finest specimens of Greek sculpture, but don't expect to see any of them in Greece, given that the English seized them all and aren't very eager to return them. Number 3. Roman Colosseum, Rome. The building of the Colosseum, one of Rome's most famous landmarks, began in 72 BC under Emperor Vespasian and was finished by his successor, Titus. It was the world's most enormous amphitheater at the time, with a capacity of 80,000 people for gladiator fights, theater, and public spectacles. To hold simulated sea battles, the floor might even be flooded. The architects' concepts for getting large crowds in and out fast are still utilized today as a foundation of modern stadiums. It's a must-see for fans of ancient Rome and Russell Crowe alike, as it's one of the most famous old Roman monuments. Number 2. Taj Mahal, India. The Taj Mahal lies in the Uttar Pradesh's Agra district, on the right bank of the Yamuna River, amid a beautiful Mughal garden that spans 17 hectares. It was constructed between 1632 and 1648 in remembrance of Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan's wife, Mumtaz Mahal, with the mosque, guest house, main entrance on the south side, and the outer courtyard and cloisters finished later in 1653 AD. The existence of many historical and Quranic inscriptions in Arabic script has aided in determining the Taj Mahal's chronology. Masons, stonecutters, inlayers, carvers, painters, calligraphers, dome builders, and other artists were requisitioned from around the empire and Central Asia and Iran for its construction. The Taj Mahal's principal architect was Ustad Ahmad Lahori. The Taj Mahal is often recognized as the most outstanding Indo-Islamic architectural masterpiece. Its well-known architectural elegance is characterized by a rhythmic mix of solid and voids, concave and convex surfaces, and light shadow. The use of arcs and domes adds to the visual appeal. The monument is showcased in ever-shifting hues and moods thanks to the color combination of lush greenscape, reddish walkway, and blue sky above it. It stands out because of the relief work in marble with precious and semi-precious stones. Number 1. Notre Dame de Paris. Notre Dame de Paris, often known as Notre Dame Cathedral, is a Parisian cathedral church. It is the most famous of the Middle Ages Gothic cathedrals, notable for its size, history, and architectural appeal. Notre Dame de Paris, located at the eastern extremity of the Ile de la Cité, was erected over the foundations of 2 previous cathedrals, which were preceded by a Gallo-Roman temple dedicated to Jupiter. The cathedral was founded by Maurice de Sully, Bishop of Paris, who conceived combining the ruins of 2 older basilicas into a single structure on a grander scale about 1160. Pope Alexander III placed the foundation stone in 1163, and the high altar was dedicated in 1189. By 1250, the choir, western facade, and nave had been finished. and during the next 100 years, porches, chapels, and other decorations had been added. Notre Dame Cathedral comprises a choir and apse, a short transept, and a nave flanked by double aisles and square chapels. The original spire, which had totally been destroyed in the 18th century due to instability, was replaced during the restoration in the 19th century. The cathedral's interior spans 427 by 157 feet, 130 by 48 meters, with a 115-foot high ceiling, 35 meters. The western front, divided into 3 stories and has its entrances decorated with the magnificent early Gothic carvings and surmounted by a series of images of Old Testament rulers, is crowned by 2 enormous early Gothic towers, 1210 to 50. The 2 towers stand at the height of 223 feet, 68 meters, but the spires that were supposed to crown them never materialized. The apse features enormous clerestory windows, added 1235 to 70. It is supported by single-arch flying buttresses of the more daring Ryanite Gothic style, which are particularly remarkable for their boldness and elegance. The glass in the cathedral's 3 great rose windows dates from the 13th century. What do you think about the most impressive buildings in the world? Were you amazed by its structures, designs, and history? If given a chance, would you visit these buildings in the future? Feel free to drop your thoughts, reactions, and responses in the comment section below. And before leaving, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell button for notifications on our future content. See you in the next video!